Ramadan Kareem, everyone, and thank you for coming today to the biggest so far C event. And I think it's very cool to see this community was formed just a few months ago. Two, a few, 2 months ago. And look at us. It's already a big audience. It's a cool place. And I think it just proves itself the market fit, right? That because we see the value in meeting and seeing professionals from the same industry. So I think we should give a big round of applause for a person behind the scenes who was figuratively behind the scenes all the time, making the place happen. You know, all the cameras here, even streaming. And now he's sitting there literally behind the scenes to make everything technically working. So please, a round of applause for Dmitry Tkachov, a founder of this community. So before we start, my name is Sergey. I'm going to be your host today. A few rules today. We are a friendly community. So we have two speakers who are going to talk, who are going to present some nice insights, but you should be open and active. So feel free to have questions, to interact. We are here to learn from each other. So don't just sit and see. If you have any questions, if you have some doubts, if you want to challenge the speakers, they're going to be so happy to answer your questions. But what are we going to talk today about? So you've seen, the naming, in-store execution, it's strategy for breakfast. And it's true, right? Every marketeer, every salesperson knows this. You may have a perfect strategy on paper, and then a lot of things happening on the backside. You're trying to figure out every single point, how you've done it, how you should do this, and then the final step, when you come to a consumer and consumer sees your final execution, what if it fails, right? So it basically would mean everything fails, right? Your strategy will not show itself as good as it could be. So we have two great speakers. We will introduce them soon. We see Karim is sitting there, managing director of Vitamin, and then Pascal here, who I'm going to invite on stage very, very soon, possibly in like 30 seconds. So Pascal is, can I say, a veteran of FMCG, given your great, like it was, 17 years in Pepsi, and then Arla Foods. Like, he knows everything about in-store execution. And for me, Pascal is a window to KSA retail market. I'm going to KSA maybe like once a quarter, but once I open LinkedIn and I see a video from a new store, from a new in-store execution, I feel like I'm never leaving KSA retail space. All right, so Pascal, please welcome on stage. I'm going to give the stage to you to present some great insights, and give a round of applause to him, please.
Thank you very much. Very kind words. And yes, when I hear the word veteran, the veteran is now 51. So over the time, a lot of things emerged. And before we start the true story, I would like to show you what's behind me. What do you see? You see a sign. And this sign is saying son. And this was an observation I made in 2016. Now I'm not telling you where it was. I don't tell you everything before we stop this conversation. But it was one of the biggest learnings for me about execution and about to be the 1% job rule, to make things perfect and to challenge you every single day and don't resting. So keep this picture please in mind, and by the end of the presentation, you will for sure understand what it is. And Dimitri, if you don't see me something, if I move too fast, let me know. Sometimes it's not so easy. There was once a young boy, and this boy had a dream. This dream was to explore the world, to find new cultures, to go out, to be bold. And he spoke with his mentor. And the mentor was listening closely, and he was saying, well, little boy, you speak a lot about freedom, but you're in the camp of security. And the boy was furious. The boy was saying, this is not true. The boy saw himself as a tiger, while the mirror was saying, you're a cat, which is not bad, but he has a total different perception. And the mentor said, no, you're in a dilemma. You have to decide security or freedom. And this technically, this boy, this is me. This boy is me a couple of years ago. And for the first 45 to 50 years, I decided to stay in Europe, in my comfort zone. Jobs came up in Dubai, and I was saying, no, I'm not going. Maybe this is not secure. What's happening? Is my wife happy when I'm going? And one day, I got a final call from a wonderful company, and I started with them in Ala in Germany. So I said, look, Pascal, here's an opportunity to go to Saudi Arabia. And I was saying, where is Saudi Arabia? I had no clue about this. I knew Dubai. Sorry for this. I had no clue. And I spoke with my wife, and we decided to jump. And the interesting part is, and then we go into the full presentation, I learned I had 50% of people who supported me heavily. They said, you need to go for the culture. But also, and this is what I learned about Western culture, they said, bring your values and everything. And I learned, no, I'm not here to bring my values. I'm here to learn from you. And this is my mantra and mindset. And I'm deeply grateful that my former company brought me to this place. About me, and when you speak about these videos, what I'm doing, I came from retail. By heart, I started in retail. 30 years ago, I was very ashamed when I worked in retail. I tell you why. Because 30 years ago, after school, when you went into retail, it was showing you're not one of the top guys. Because in retail in Germany 30 years ago, you went when no one else would give you a job. But guess what? This is where I learned all my knowledge today. I learned how important retail, how important it is really to engage with customers and shoppers. And then I moved into companies like Pepsi, Imperial Tobacco, and Ala. And I was always a front runner going into the field, going out. I'm wearing my tope in the Al-Raji Mosque, and this is not done for the picture. I did it 50% of my time. I'm wearing topes. I love it so much. The Middle East is a huge thing, and I'm deeply grateful for it. By the way, interrupt me anytime if something is up or you want to know something, feel free about it. But now let's go and fly 10,000 feet high. And when I started here in the Middle East, I compared both, let's say, continents. When I come to the Middle East, especially Saudi, Vision 2030, the average age is 27, 28. In comparison to Europe, 45, 46. When you go to Portugal, the average age is in the mid of 50s. This is a huge change for me. Also the consumption, how they behave. For example, Europe, where I grew up, a very nice place, very traditionally. We had the car industry, but Europe is struggling heavily. Everyone is looking to the Middle East. Everyone is saying, what is happening in the UAE? What's happening in Saudi Arabia? The young population. We see it, for example, in Saudi, the young woman going now out. When I had a lot of colleagues, they're happy. The Gen Z, in my opinion, is so happy and smiling all the day. When I land in Frankfurt, I don't see people smile. And I'm saying, why? You have a good life. But obviously, I say, come to the Middle East. And I would say it's very much tradition, which is also good. I have learned a lot in Germany, in Europe. But the change is coming, in my opinion, here at this place. I have been yesterday walking around Dubai. I mean, the service level, the energy. I mean, the risk to get bankrupt because you spend all the time money is also high here. But overall, I have to say it's an incredible, energetic place. And I see these many smiles here. I had conferences, I didn't see people smile. And this is what the people can learn, definitely.
So let's learn with the audience how to interrupt you.
Oh, you already started to challenge me.
So can you share with us maybe like emotionally what was your first interesting experience? Like you changed the region, which is completely different. So what's changed to you? What was the first thing you...
Yeah, I have something. I hope I can say it, but I will do it anyhow. I landed in Saudi Arabia end of 2023, and I saw Riyadh by day. And we made store checks. And I landed at the airport. All women at the airport were abayas, hijabs, niqabs. And I was saying to my wife, Riyadh is so ugly per day. And I think I can't bring you here. I was scared. In this moment, it ticked in me and I was scared. My wife was cool. She said, stay a week and see what happens. And after a week, I met the people, smiles, hospitality, and incredible security you have in the Middle East. So, don't judge, I would say, in the first 24 hours. Give you some time. And now I love Saudi Arabia. I love also UAE, but Saudi is my home by heart. I love it. The change is infectious.
Thanks for sharing.
Yes, anytime. So Also another, and I think I will go on this question on another thing, quality is different on different levels. For example, if we speak in my opinion, in GCC about the perfect store, people start immediately with a planogram, with a picture of success. They said, here's a booklet, and they prepare booklets with 30 pages, which no one is ever reading. And I was saying, guys, the picture of success is a story where you want to play. What do you want to do? You start first with the why. Simon Sinek, start with why. Then you think about what is the benefit for a retailer. You will see it in a minute for discount. Discount in Germany, I think, is a benchmark for discount globally, when you think about Aldi and Lidl. But they had clear rules. If you don't apply these rules, you can show your planograms, your booklets. They say, thank you very much, please next. And also, what is in for the shopper? Some of us, we are obsessed with the consumer. But at the end, our way, when I worked in fast moving, you go to the customer. From the customer, you think about how to get the shopper. And then you need to have a stopper or a story for your consumer. And this is for me a big, big learning. Perfect store does not start in the store. It's a longer story. And I think this is a big difference. So how to describe when we go now from the meta perspective a little bit down to Germany before we go to discounts. So in Germany, we have 84 million people roughly. The economy, some say, are slowing down. Let's say it's flattish. It's definitely not growing at the moment. But the biggest indicator and two big changes, our households are two-people households, and they are declining. So we are declining heavily. So you heard we are over-aging over the time. I'm not saying this continent is dying, but when we don't get people from outside, very simple, this is going down. And this is the biggest situation we're having right now. When you compare it to Saudi, a household has 5 people. So this is a big difference. For me, emotionally, I have to say, when I am in Portugal and Germany, when you get older than 90 years, every 4th person is going to an elderly home. This is not a nice life. I can tell you from my own, I see it right now, where people going into elderly homes, this is, sorry, really shitty. It's really terrible. Here, but especially in Saudi, this is not happening. You can't let your parents who brought you, especially your mother, who brought you to this planet, leave alone. And this is a big, big difference, in my opinion, to Germany. But the households getting smaller. Germany is famous for their car industry, for everything, what we did, what we built. So also we are perceived as hardworking people. And I mean, when you think about what happened after Second World War, we get the 3rd or 4th biggest powerhouse. This is strong. This is something we're proud of. And also, discounters came from Germany, Aldi and Lidl. And we have to keep in mind, this business is mainly modern trade, or we call it organized trade driven. So roughly 75% of the whole trade, modern trade, is managed by 4 customers. It's Rewe, Edeka. This is what you compare maybe with the Lulu, with the Tamimi, with the Carrefour, maybe the hypers like the Kauflands. And then you have Aldi and Lidl. These are the big players. So if you are a fast-moving guy, you can maybe struggle with one of these customers, which happens all the time. If you're in the league of Mars, Coke, Pepsi, you never get all 4 customers under one umbrella. If you struggle with 2 customers, your plan is going down, and they know this. So there is a really, retail in Germany is strong. It's not fun, it's very professional, but it's not the kindness I perceived when I'm going here to customers. Here, customers are nice. CEOs coming in, see me in a taupe, is saying, hey, you look nice, and by the way, we are happy with your partnership. This is never happening in Germany. But anyhow, it's professionally. And now when you think about yes, please. Wait for the mic, please. 1 second. Should I give mine? Thank you.
Well, just talking about Germany retailers, Aldi and Lidl, I was wondering, I mean, how come they're not here?
Oh, this is a brilliant question. I asked them and I don't get an answer. Why is they not coming? Why is Aldi and Lidl not coming to the GCC? I have not the answer. I ask exactly the same, and I will show it to you in a minute when I see what I see in Saudi, which is coming. Let me say like this. When you deal with a company like Aldi and Lidl, they have a strict formula. 1,500 SKUs, 80% is private label, and you have a clear threshold. And the threshold of the margin is technically times 2 times 2.5 what you give your customers normally. So this is a threshold. If you reach these thresholds, maybe one answer could be, we don't reach these thresholds here, could be. And second, maybe they're deciding, we look from the outside what's happening and they prepare it. I have the same question. I know it's not a satisfying answer, but my read is these guys are so professional. If they decide to go, they go big. Right now, what I see here in discount has nothing to do with structure. It's a mix out of wholesale, out of short expiry sales. It's a way, and you see it here. We go to an Aldi, if you don't mind, here on the left. This, what you see right now, is an Aldi in Portugal. It's very organized. So keep in mind, 1,500 SKUs, clear margins, and the margins are calculated on the shelf and on the promotion. Then, this is not all what you need to deliver as a brand. You need to be a leading brand. If you're not a number one brand, you don't make it. You can have maybe a high innovation. Let's say you bring in Dubai chocolate. I know it's a big thing still. Then sometimes they open for a seasonal listing, and then you have 3 to 5 days. When I listed, or my colleagues listed Starbucks at Aldi, they said you have 3 to 5 days to sell 80% of your volume. If the volume is not sold, we perceive you not as a performer and you're out. And they don't, look, I'm very much I was good in key account with relationship customers. When you are with these customers, it's much tougher because they said, you won't even speak to my local guy. You have to go to this threshold, otherwise you're out. And you see everything is organized. You see private label. Private label is a huge game in Europe. You can say between 40 and 50%. And I will show you later a little bit more. Private label is much more advanced. In KSA, it's not really existing. It's maybe 6-7% what I see. But once a purchasing director told me when I gave him my card, Pascal, the future in Saudi, maybe here, is private label. Cost of living is increasing, and the quality of private label, normally I would never say this as a fast-moving guy, but the quality is getting incredibly good. So you need to make, and you will see it later, fans in your environment. This here is the latest store opened in Saudi. It's called Deal, and you see the difference. Immediately, it's these high gondolas. It's these typical Ramadan products you're seeing right now. It's short expiries. It's mass of products. It's plenty of people coming in. And you see the big players are entering it more and more. Some companies are not working with them. They said, yeah, let's see how they get our products. But in Germany, end of the 60s, discount started. And even when Aldi came to the UK, it took them years to be the success guys they are right now. They have the time, and I think this is a big thing in Aldi and Lidl. They play on time. They are maybe not the first movers, but I'm sure if they come one day, you will recognize them. And this is what they're doing. I'm not sure how many people from you have seen discount, maybe in Saudi or in other places. Okay, should we maybe get some impressions? Maybe you can.
Very disorganized. You never see a store which is like hundreds of stores, let's say. You see a chain which may be like 5 stores, 7 stores, which is located in a specific city or part of the city. And then there is another chain which is located in another part of the city. Yeah. And then there is a discounter which is as huge as Lulu, which has the shelves as actually organized as Lulu. But then it's a single store in a whole Saudi Arabia.
Yes.
How does it work? Like, how do they manage to make such a big and significant store?
Yeah.
And it's going to be still just one single store. And what also amazed me is the average ticket size. I was just standing near the counter just to see like who is coming to this counter. And then there is one woman coming with the helper because it's like 2 big baskets full of stuff. And it's like 1,000 reals.
Yes.
Then another one is coming 1.5k reals. So I've never spent that much in a store, and this store is considered a cheap store, right? So
yes.
It's just the size of the basket.
And maybe before we go to the colleagues, we had some other requests. I can tell you something. Penetration in German discount is 98%. So from 40 million households, every single household is going minimum once per year to discount. But the frequency normally is 3 to 4. And it started, you go to the discount for your basics, and the rest over the 1,500 SKU, you go to this Lulu, to these other customers. And also, one big customer in Germany told me, Pascal, I'm working for Edeka. This is the biggest customer in Germany. We can give customers and shoppers the best prices on the planet, even better than Aldi and Lidl. And the shoppers come inside and say, when you can do this price, Aldi can do better. And this is a danger if you're not going to discount as a supplier, as a retailer, but it's also the big opportunity because it will shift. People will shift. See the rise of costs in Saudi and in other places and here. People will go for brands which they love and everything else, in my opinion, will get sacrificed. I see my own behavior. I moved partly to private labels. But I think we had also one, too. Yeah. If I'm not good in time, you let me know, yes? Yes?
Yeah, I mean, I have a small question actually. How are the brands that the private labels are making in Germany? For example, when I go to a Viva here, I see a brand called Habibi. The moment I see Habibi, I'm moving out of the store. Because it's Haribo, a cheap copy of it, I can see it. But do they do the same way or they have a different style of making their own private labels?
Oh, no, that's good. So you mean technically the copy-paste mechanic, right? So retailers copy-paste brutally with private label. I would say 30 years ago, you figured out a private label had not a nice design. The quality was okay, but not perfect. When I worked at PepsiCo, we had a brand called Punica. It was a fruit juice. And one of the retailer delisted it. And he was so angry with us, he said, in 2 months, I have my own private label and it looks like yours. Sue me if you want. Of course, you'll never sue a customer. You never sue them, right? I mean, that would be kind of stupid. So what I'm saying is the quality of private label increased dramatically. Also, you see it when you see Coca-Cola. Sometimes in stores, you see brands from a little distance you can't distinguish. So I would say quality is going up. And let's be honest, a lot of private labels are produced by the same guys who are doing the brands. So it's a little bit, let's say, it's like this, right? I mean, we buy brands, you will see it later for some reason, but the quality increased. In the beginning, it was like this, copy-paste, but now it's quite good. I think, yeah?
Yeah, just to emphasize.
I hope I can answer this time.
No, it's more sharing an insight. So just as an emphasis on the private label thing, I was exposed to a presentation a couple of days back on FMCG, and 69% of Saudi shoppers say that they would buy more private labels if there was a wider range.
Yes.
So, and then it's no longer perceived as a no brand, it's perceived as a...
Totally.
So this is just to emphasize on your point.
Yes, I think private labels are unstoppable. I think when you have a good brand with a story, you don't have to fear it, but they definitely will take share. And at the end, I said to all my former companies, think about, some companies have a policy, we don't touch private labels. I think this time is over, to be honest. Yes?
Yeah, as per my opinion, I think so private label people are converted very fast in the non-food side of business, where you can utilize the product in your household.
Yes.
Like a fabric softener, dishwashing liquid. But you talk about when the EDAble comes, people still have, I can say, equity for the branded items.
This is interesting. There was a brand in Germany, I think it was former Procter, now Kimberly Tempo. It was tissues.
Yeah.
Normally in my past, I bought this brand, but then years ago, my wife said, why don't buy a private label? I agree 100%. These products you can replace. I stick to some brands like Head and Shoulders. I probably would never touch it for some reason, but everything else I buy private labels. In food, I think you're right, it's different, but you will see later a brand which used the boycott, which is not a private label, but also there people are changing now. Yes? We find a way. I'm not sure if I can give everything, but we will find a way, I think. That's fair to say. I think so, yes? I hope I'm not sharing anything, brings me in trouble when I leave the country, but I'm not sure about it. Let's see. So I think we spoke a lot about discount. I make this a little bit faster. So the big difference here is not organized. In some ways, it's funny. I can tell you, who knows Whole Foods from the United States? Does anyone knows? To whom belongs Whole Foods? Yes. When you go to Jeddah and you land and you see on the right side a sign of Whole Foods, I was saying, how cool Amazon is in Saudi. And then I was saying, why in Jeddah? You would go to Riyadh. But I forgot about it. And then I learned probably Amazon forgot to make the rights to protect their name. So a local guy took it, make a discounter out of it. Looks not very nice. So it has nothing to do. So my message is, these are things that are happening here in the region. People do stuff, and maybe it's legal, maybe not, who am I? But it's definitely not organized. It's definitely on the rise. When I entered the deal discounter in Riyadh, it opened at, I think, 11 a.m. There was a queue of people before, waited to go in. They were like going to Disneyland. I saw an armada of blue color frontliners to fill the shelves. If you ask me, I think the future will be Aldi Lidl. Maybe, and if they're not coming, they will copy it. And that's a big difference, I would say, from discount, from my observation.
You know, this one is looking quite dangerous. I feel afraid to go between this islands and the mountains of products. Do you feel the same, or it's just my impression? Like, I'm afraid that products will fall down, and I'm afraid to take something that will, beautiful construction will be disappeared.
Well, I can answer this. 2 years ago, coming from Germany, this is insane. I would scare to be and run. Well, I lived 2 years in Riyadh. It's normal. It's okay, I would say, honestly. This would never happen in Europe. Never, ever. Yes. 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 And you made a very good point, Anna, by the way. When you go to discounters, and you will see it maybe later, even a leading brand like Red Bull, when they started to go into Aldi, I think 7, 8 years ago, Aldi was saying, I want to have the regular format, 250 milliliter. And Red Bull said, no, we give you a different format because we don't confuse our consumers and shoppers. 3 months later, Aldi got what they wanted. So it's technically the plan. Guys, I'm a very bad timekeeper. You have to take care about me. So I have no clue. I'm doing my story, but if I'm too long, you let me know. And also something interesting about Germany. In the Middle East, secondary placements, everything is premium. I'm always mocking my colleagues in the past. I sent these big shelves with the presence of Pepsi, of Coke, of Arla, of Mars. And I'm saying, look what these guys can do here. In Germany, you have two facings. You have very much performance-driven. When we did the Starbucks displays, the displays needs to be okay, but cheap. So when we spend more than, let's say, 100 dirham per POS material, it's already negative. Why we are doing it? Because we want to drive trial, activation. We want to get our listings. We want to show our customers we are there. It's a shopper journey. But frankly, what you see here on the right side, I'm not sure if it's a video. Obviously, it's not. This is what we do in Saudi. Also here, what I saw yesterday, I think in a Carrefour from Mars, these categories like cinema and Malteser makes total sense for me. I was like, oh, I feel like a child. Or breakfast. Well, Kellogg's breakfast, I love Kellogg's. Sorry, but I don't think it's healthy, but I like it very much. But anyhow, the whole occasion is on a total different level. So it's reflecting everything in this part of the world is about beauty and execution. In Germany and in Europe is more basic. It's not bad, but it's much more basic, I would say, from my observation. And we were thinking, okay, but how can we do also a little bit of this Middle East spirit into the markets? And when we were sitting together with the Starbucks team, a wonderful team, by the way, they said, look, we have a concept, we call it Take 10. And we said, Take 10, no one understands. They said, hold on, guys. Take 10 means take your 10 minutes. And 10 minutes means we build something in supermarkets. And the idea was, look, in Germany, the owner of retail who's doing the decisions is a woman. The woman is doing the decisions. A man can maybe say, I would like this, but at the end, it's a woman who decides. And we said, when a couple is going for grocery, give the man 10 minutes space, relax, play a PlayStation, drink a coffee. And this is what we built here. And this is how it looks like in real life. We made this in Hamburg, Germany, and it was a huge success. And yes, you can't do this in every store. We had a rolling system. We had maybe 10 of these equipment tools. And I would say, if I'm not wrong, my colleague and the teams from trade marketing brought it in roughly 80 to 100 stores. But if you put this in store, your rotation is tripling, quadrupling easily. Why? Because you get massive placement. With a concept like this, you get the best spot in place. And this is something how we touched people. And we brought it in. And I would say I'm deeply grateful that Starbucks brought this to us. It was a huge success for us. And I think you don't have to attract every store. You need to figure out which is the right store you want to be. And you have to be very rigorous to say, these are the stores I'm not even going. I skip them in the line. We also went to festivals. I mean, yes, Middle Beast is a different thing here. I learned this. And also what you have here in the Coca-Cola arena, we know you're on a higher level. But we figured out what we can do. This is where we reach our Gen Z target group. The interesting part is everyone is speaking about Gen Z. So me with 51, I was sitting together with my customer and I was selling him Rockstar energy drink. So he was 60, the other one was maybe 48. And we were talking and the customer was saying to me, Pascal, this Rockstar, this flavor is not working and this not working. And I said, guys, we are by far not the target group. Let the target group decide. We are old men. And all of us laughed and said, okay, we listed, we tried, we will see if it's working or not. But also, we brought Take 10 to concerts. And this was a way for us to engage with our community. And don't think about return on invest. These things, when someone is asking, this is the same, stupid question. If you list a product, and after 2 days, your GM is coming to you and said, how is the product performing? I mean, what should I say after a week? I don't know nothing about it. And also these products, but we got so stunning pictures on social media. They were posting, they came to us. And this is a way how you bring love in your brand. And we picked here Lollapalooza, a huge event. And yes, most people and companies can't afford, like Pepsi and Saudi, to go to the Middle East or Middle Beast. But find easy spots. Coca-Cola is doing great at the moment. And I think this is important from a storyline. Now let's talk about concepts. And when I grew up, all was about the 4 Ps. The 4 P was the guidance. But then I heard a concept, demand moments from PepsiCo. And this was the first time where we spoke about what is the occasion. Why are consumers drinking our products? And we made insight studies and everything. And it's funny, what came out is obvious. It came out, you drink a Pepsi, you drink a Coke for refreshment. What a big eye-opener. I mean, it took us a lot of thousands of euros to get it. But anyhow, this was definitely the way why people drink a cola. Why do you think Coca-Cola is obsessed to be a total beverage company? Because in the morning, you're not drinking Coca-Cola. In the morning, you drink maybe a juice. Maybe you drink some milk, a dairy product. And this is why companies are thinking about occasions. Coke brought in OBPPC, and it's technically similar to the 4 Ps or demand moments, but it's all about occasions. They start, where are we playing? Why is Anna drinking a Coke Zero? Why is that? And this mindset changed really everything. And I want to show you how this is looking like in store. So you start with the occasion, where, why. Start with Simon Sinek. Why is someone drinking your product? Or why not? This is a big question. We don't like to ask these questions normally because we are sometimes in our silos. And it's all about, when you figured out why, then you have to figure out where you want to play. When you want to where to play, you think about what is your format. The easiest learning I had from a retailer is, he said to me, look, Pascal, here's a watermelon. The watermelon costs 10 dirham. When I half it, I sell the half also for 10 dirham. And when I make the half in a quarter, I sell it also for 10 dirham. This is how you make profitability. The smaller, the convenience on the go. This is why these companies push coolers, push touch points. This is where you earn your money. In modern trade, in discount, you make your volume. Interesting wise, in discount, you can earn money. Interesting insight. But in modern trade, and this is what I learned here about the Middle East, you do it most of the time to show your brand, But when people look what they earn, they're saying, we have to do it because it's necessary for our brand, but we earn our money in traditional trade. And I think you need to play this very clear. What is the right format? The bigger, the less you earn. Then you need to think about what is the right price point. Are you competitive? Sometimes companies like Pepsi decided in markets where they have been a challenger to be line priced with Coke. This is coming at a cost, a very risky game. And never trust always your price elasticity in everything. Make small pilots before you make decisions. Sometimes we go with our gut feel and say, oh, this is a good price. My wife would buy it for that. Yeah, but your wife is an expat. She's not the normal person who's going to a store. And I think this is super important. And something which stunned me, this is from Saudi on the right. This is PepsiCo execution OBPPC. And the fun fact is, I came from Europe, a Pepsi challenger country. My mindset is always challenger. I was never a leader. I came to Starbucks, I figured out, oh, now we are the number one. So it's a different mindset. In Saudi, the number one is Pepsi. It has a history situation with boycott and everything, but let's be clear. If you go in a store, it's Pepsi and Lay's all over the world, and Coke is a challenger. And for them, it's not easy. I spoke to both. Pepsi told me, Pascal, for us, it's not easy to accept we are the number one. We still have a challenger mindset. And sometimes when I speak to Coke, I think they're thinking they are the leaders. But this is mindset. You need to be clear in the environment you're in. But both do a great job, and really it's good to see two worthy rivals. This is Coke in Portugal. And the first thing you will see is, and this is what I admire at Coke, you see everything is red. Yes, they're bringing in new line extensions, zero sugar, zero caffeine in some markets. Here is more the zero sugar. Has also linked into the sugar tax, has been linked also into obesity, because this is a problem in the region at all. But overall, you see these red color coding, different touch points, and heavily, heavily good executed. This is the power of Coca-Cola in Europe, and this is the power of a company which I perceive very strong on one category, which is colas. On Coke, I admire them heavily. I admire them on Monster Energy. There are a lot of things I don't admire them because everything else, there's a highly rate where they failed heavily. And this is with big companies. When you get too much brands into it, you need to answer yourself, what is your focus?
Pascal, you mentioned sugar tax. Do you think it will influence the shelf itself, how it will look like in the future?
Yes, because we see it in Europe already. Let's go in the energy category. The energy category 10 years, let's say, in 87, the energy category was started by Red Bull in Europe. In the first years, these guys went into food service, into on the go, and then they moved into retail. In the beginning, it was all sugar. Now you can say 60, 70% is definitely zero sugar. So despite the sugar tax, it will increase because of obesity. People, you have this longevity topic, and energy drinks are very much negatively perceived. So back to your questions, I heavily believe non-sugar will go bigger and bigger, but also companies need to do it because of their P&L, because otherwise they're not competitive. And this is what we see in other markets. Sorry? Always when you have zero sugar. Yes, zero sugar. Yes, it's normally more profitable. So sometimes companies will say maybe now he's not right, because when you put in stevia and other things, it's the same cost. But you can say technically, if you don't have sugar inside, it's the best profitability you're having for a product. And of course, we have the topic about obesity. This is a big topic, a huge topic. This is something, by the way, I saw in Saudi when men were wearing a taupe. And I was saying, all people are so beautiful and thin. And some guy told me, no, Pascal, we are thin because we're wearing a taupe. When we remove it, we are not so. So obesity is a topic. The sugar tax is a topic. But the demand of the consumers, it's shifting heavily. You see Pepsi and Coke in a lot of countries, they're focusing advertising only on zero sugar. 10 years ago in the UK, PepsiCo decided you're not allowed to advertise sugar anymore. I think sugar is banned, and it's going into this camp like tobacco and alcohol. It's going really, when we worked at Starbucks, we also increased our non-added sugar because in milk products you have all this sugar from the milk, but we don't add it anymore. So the team was deciding and very successfully going into non-added sugar. Because people, have to be careful. If you have an indulgence product, you can't compromise taste, because then you have no sugar, no one is buying it. I think in confectionery it's quite hard to do this, maybe impossible. I eat, for example, dark chocolate because I believe it's good. I'm not sure about it, I hope. But in soft drinks, they made a tremendous job. I hope this answers the question.
Yeah, thank you.
And yes, we can jump about this. This is share a Coke. I mean, I worked 17 years in Pepsi. I love Pepsi. But I have to admire worthy rivals. Share a Coke is the most emotional thing I ever saw. Seeing my name on a Coke bottle, seeing it here in Dubai, you can make it in your own store. How cool is this? And I think this is something I want to bring us back. A couple of weeks ago, it was Super Bowl. And do you know what PepsiCo's advertising was? Give me some shouted insight. What's something you have in mind? With the bear? Yes. It was all about the taste challenge. We at Pepsi, and also me, we always challenge Coke on the taste. And in every blind tasting, Pepsi is winning. In every. It's like Burger King versus McDonald's. Burger King is winning. But then something is happening when you go out of this test scenario and the consumer and shopper is going back, they buy a brand they love. And sadly, in a lot of cases, they bought Coke in this time. And this is why I believe, and this is for me one of the best learnings I ever had, don't be too satisfied with your product. You don't have to be the best on earth. But you have to build a love brand. And I show you how some rock star changed my life. Who knows Iron Maiden? Okay, who likes Iron Maiden? Okay, we have one. That's okay. So Bruce Dickinson is the lead singer of Iron Maiden. It's a group like Guns N' Roses, like Metallica, in soft, let's say. And he was a speaker at one stage. I was surprised. Oh, he's a speaker. I learned he's a pilot. I learned also he is an elite fencer. So he is, and this is interesting, successful people are successful in a lot of things, not only in one thing. Very interesting, by the way. And he said on stage, look, guys, I'm a pilot, a fencer, a singer, a father. I hate customers. I love fans. I, Bruce Dickinson, can go with 60 years after I had a shift flying airplanes. I take my vacation, and my vacation means I'm going on stage with Iron Maiden. So his vacation is going on tour. I'm running with 60 years with underwear and underpants on stage, and the people are screaming, Bruce, Bruce, Iron Maiden. This is what a fan is. The iPhone is, in my opinion, not the best phone on the planet. I would agree Siri is dumped like a cupcake. AI is not existing in Apple, but I'm a fan. I saw the first keynote of Steve Jobs, 2007, introduced the iPhone. My youngest brother showed it to me. I know the moment I was thinking, what is this? I will buy always Apple. You can give me a Samsung for free, tell me it's better, I don't use it. And I think this is the difference between a customer and a fan. And this is also on your private label question, in my opinion. If you have customers, you get replaced. And we learned from one person, Byron Sharp. Byron Sharp wrote the book, How Brands Grow. And this is, by the way, a Bible we used in Pepsi. It's used in Coke and a lot of companies. And he is decluttering our world about heavy users, about people who buy a product. I said, look, guys, you always need to hunt for new customers because you lose customers. Everything is penetration, and it's mental availability, what you build, and also Karim shows later about Instore, what you're doing, and physical availability. And he's saying, forgot about all these tests with be the best product like Samsung, look, but I'm much better. And in the same time, Pepsi is advertising Coke all the time. They're saying, look, we are always better. This is like I'm going to a date and I bring maybe my enemy, like, look, I'm much more better than him. And at the end, I promote him. Kind of stupid, right? But anyhow, and Byron Sharp also said, think about 1985. Coke introduced the new Coke because they were scared about the good test results of the Pepsi challenge, which indicated consumers want a sweeter cola. So they changed the formula, and after 6 weeks, they changed it back because consumers who loved in the past Coke hated new Coke by heart, and they changed it. This is how we look in Germany. Again, from this glory world of the Middle East, of the beauty, very basic. Keep in mind, Germany, Europe is KPI driven. You have a clear cost for your display. It's going in your P&L. If it's not well, and it's never well, because when you pay 100 dirham for POS, which you wouldn't have when you sell the product regularly, your P&L is negative. You go to your CFO is saying no, but you're saying, we need touch points. You find your way around, but it's very tough to do this and to make and spend too much money on it. Another category, and I'm not sure from time, is this still okay? I think we're a little bit over, right? Yes? Okay. And this opened also something. I was now the last 6 weeks in Portugal, and we all know the protein category is evolving, especially in dairy. You see the bars, but you see also in dairy. And when I was in Portugal, I saw this. I saw 50% private labels. I saw 50% of the shelf in dairy where yogurt, milk-based beverages, and all these puddings is now color code black. It seems color code black is protein. It seems premium. I see, by the way, Nestle is also using now protein, not protein, but black color. And I was wondering, and no one could ask me or answer me, why is protein so big in Portugal, in a country which is so old? And then I figured out, and when I made the homework for this presentation, an assumption is because the average age in Portugal is 55 plus, the older you get, you lose muscle. So you need to go to the gym. If not, if you're 70, if you fall, a likelihood you die. I'm sorry, it is like it is. And we need also protein, because protein is building our muscles. So they found a way to give a positive indulgence, to say, look, you can have indulgence. It's helping you for your health. It's tasting good. And I can tell you, I'm here in Saudi, a heavy user of my former company, Ala, for the pudding. It's an incredible product. In Portugal, I don't get it. I buy private label, and the quality is stunning. It's incredible. So they found a way to speak. And look, this is a German company called Ehrmann. Even German companies are now entering. So protein is a big bet. And protein in dairy is exploding. We see it now going into snacking. Lay's started now with protein products. Let's see how potato chips and I don't see the story yet, but maybe they find it. In dairy, it makes all sense of the world. In protein bar, it makes all sense of the world. For me, it's definitely the future. But again, it shows when you have private labels, and we had this question before, the quality is insanely good. And for sure, big companies are producing it. There are not these hidden private label plans. They are existing. But go in confectionery in Germany. You will see guys who deliver Aldi with a private label, the same guys who do global brands. It's not really a huge difference. Another big eye-opener is, for me, retail media. And again, the beauty in the Middle East is incredible. On the left, you see something what Ala did again for Ramadan check. They promoted Starbucks, Galaxy, and Protein. At Danube, they promoted it with nice signage. And the good thing is, and this is what I experienced, they made the spot for the right format. A lot of times, I'm seeing that people have the budgets, big companies, they block this. Oh, we don't have the assets, let's use what we have as a TVC, and it looks terrible. But these guys doing well. Also here, this is in Portugal, Lay's, tremendously good. It's not too, I would say, occupied, a clear communication, focus on the products. They launched, a couple of years ago, Gourmet, also in black color coding, you see. Black color coding is very much for premium. And this is, for me, a huge changer coming globally. But I see a big risk. I spoke with Danube, or with a store manager, and Danube said to me, one store was rebuilt in KSA. Everything was removed. Pepsi, Mars, dominating before, done. And I said, what's happening? Yeah, we rebuilt our store. We get now from Faden Media, from Saudi Science, a new thing. And I said, does it mean the old stuff is coming back? And he said, maybe not. And I think this is what's happening. The time for fast moving to spend in this will transfer into retail media. It's more profitable for the retailer. It's maybe more professional, but it means going with your own coolers, your own stuff. You won't do it anymore. Yes? Should I? Okay, no worry.
Thank you. So I see so many good solutions, but as I see, they are mainly for hypermarkets, yes? So for big stores. But right now, e-commerce is fastly growing, especially in Saudi, yeah? And in Saudi, I saw so many small markets, like grocery, like near the, in every area. So what are solutions we have for these small markets and for e-com?
What's your name again, please?
My name is Ksenia.
Thank you, Ksenia. True, when you go to Saudi, you have roughly, I think you speak about traditional trade. When you speak about this, we have roughly 33,000 traditional trade stores and we have only 1,200. We spoke here pretty much about these 1,200. When you go to traditional trade, you can forget most of this what I showed to you. So you're using what we used in the past also in Pepsi is the standard FSUs, is the standard secondary placements. Now confectionery is going heavily into coolers. So when you go for Ferrero, Marcy's brands, they use a space. But technically, you use also sometimes your own product in a carton. So the honest answer is very basic secondary placements, FSUs, wobblers, stickers. I mean, in this channel, I have to be honest, we are struggled heavily to put price points on the shelf because no traditional trade is taking it. And you're walking blind into the store. And we all know, Ksenia, that you are not buying a product when you don't see a price. So technically, we started at the shelf. I would say we use coolers where it's possible, but coolers is a risky thing. And that was it technically. Sometimes when we use these category dividers and headers, they're gone after 3 days. And wobblers are get ripped off also after a day. So the honest answer is we tried focusing to get the price point on shelf. That was our core mission. Not fancy, to be honest. On e-commerce, big focus. E-commerce is a sleeping giant because now more and more fast-moving companies are, I would say, waking up. We used really the SKU uplift, so we spent money on getting our SKUs up in the subcategories. We used sometimes banners. And what I love about e-commerce when you make bundles, virtual bundles, because we failed always in stores. I had an example, I didn't share it with you. With Starbucks, we had a good thing. We said you buy 2 Starbucks multi-serve, you scan a QR code, and we sent you the glass, which was very premium, by post home. So this is how I would describe e-commerce. I hope this makes sense.
Sorry, I was just
Yes?
yeah, just to also back you up, Pascal, with e-commerce. So hi, I'm Karim. With e-commerce, I'm seeing a lot of changes, specifically in the last 1 or 2 years, specifically when it comes to shopper marketing events. Before, e-commerce was an afterthought. It was not taken very, I would say, structured. But now we're getting, like, any campaign that we're doing in stores has to reflect also on multiple platforms, be it Talabat or be it Amazon or whoever it may be. And not only that, you have companies like Talabat and Noon, they're pushing also for unique engagement, unique opportunities. And last but not least, you have retailers like, for example, let's assume the co-ops, who are now, through their loyalty program and the Carrefours and whatnot, anything that you purchase, that you have a promotion in store, is also reflecting on the, so you can participate. So I'm seeing that growth.
Yeah, absolutely. And sorry, did I interrupted you?
No.
And one thing maybe what we did, my colleagues did, and big salute to them. When they launched the Ala protein pudding, we were run out of stock immediately because the demand was so high. They got new stocks. They said, let's give for 2 days for Noon maybe. And the consumers went viral. So in my opinion, I very love the shop as a customer. When you speak to Noon in Amazon, I think the most important thing is you have to have a great person dealing with them, speaks the language, because it's very much data-driven, but also very kind. It's an incredible playfield, highly profitable. And if you have a big company and you have only one person who's running e-commerce, you do something wrong, because there's e-commerce and quick commerce, in my opinion. So that's how I would see it. I think there was another question. I give this, okay?
So I work in e-com, and I take you back maybe 4, 5 months, 6 months was it? So Nestle did an entire launch campaign on the concentrate, the recent 2 launches that they did with Noon, exclusively for 3 months before anyone in the market. This was in UAE, not so much in Saudi yet, but definitely it's the sleeping giant is also, I would say, maybe 6 months ago it was still applicable, but now it's not. Everyone is focusing on e-commerce, and fear not, you're behind. We in Kuwait this month, we're actually launching something exclusively with Talabat before the entire market. It helps to tap into the consumer on a different level. Definitely, you don't hit all the consumers because a lot of, say, traditional trade consumers won't shop there. But to build that hype initially for your products, it's a great platform.
I think you make the link between this exclusive offer and the place where to buy this, and then you form like the habit.
Sorry, so I think I just wanted to add, a lot of people have already spoken about decom, but I think on the traditional trade bit, especially Saudi and very similar markets, we as shopper marketing customer category, we always believe the shoppers are very confusing and we overthink when we do things, right? But when it comes to traditional trade, over a lot of experience, I've seen that basic things, and I keep saying this to a lot of my team members as well, which is wobblers, for example, are the cheapest, but the most effective sort of POSM when it comes to traditional trade. And a lot of times when we enter, when we're planning, when we're thinking of anything, it's always like, what floor stand can we do? What countertop can we do? And that's all, sorry to say, but that's all BS, right? When it comes to traditional trade. I think shelf is the way to go about it. And what we've seen over a period of time, shelf-ready packs do the job really well, because when it comes to 33,000 outlets, when it comes to 60,000 outlets in Pakistan, or even more, there's no way your merchandisers or sales reps can reach there, right? And therefore, if you can effectively communicate through shelf-ready packs, together with wobblers, throw it every single day, not a problem, really helps. Just wanted to share that.
You speak out of my heart, and I can tell you something. When I made for Starbucks, I booked some stores, I made category dividers with LED and everything with a screen, and it looked fantastic. But then I learned something from a company called Ojan Coca-Cola with Vimto. It's very huge. And also another cola, Rita, the brand, is a soft drink in Saudi. And they had the best stocking shelf presence in store. And I spoke with them. They said, look, Pascal, it's very simple. We have no POS. We have 0 coolers. We go to customers. We say, when you give me the best spot on the shelf, you get a rebate back or you get some free samples. So technically in this region, I think this traditional trade, you buy space on shelf, because the first thing the store owner is asking, what is the money for me? And if you give money and you're saying, when I come back in next week and it's still the same, you get the same. So this is how I see traditional trade. I couldn't agree more. I was also sometimes too fancy and failed. Boycott, very fast. We spoke about it, and you heard about Kinza, right? Who knows Kinza? Kinza is better. Rita is better, okay. Okay, wow, good. What I can say in a nutshell, what I really admire, I mean, I don't know how this company planned all of this, but this product, which is called in Saudi Treasure, they started and they really challenged Coke and Pepsi heavily because it's Saudi made. And this is something I learned in this region. I mean, Coke and Pepsi is also Saudi made, but it's an US brand. And when the boycott came, these guys came in and I tried my first Kinza. And I was saying, if it would a blind test, I hope Pepsi is not seeing it, I couldn't distinguish it. It was, for me, the same product. And what I always say to the guys, think about household penetration. They have roughly right now 40% of the households. This is magic. This is a masterpiece. And when I see how they copy, paste, and steal with pride, the packs, the sizes, everything, these guys are rock stars. I'm not sure if the brand is built on the level yet, like the others, because let's say Coke and Pepsi do great on branding and storytelling, but these guys are evolving. And the key message is you get replaced when you're a customer. If you're a fan having an iPhone, you'll not get replaced. When I land later next days in Riyadh at the airport, everyone has AirPods, everything, Louis Vuitton, Hermes, Birkenbeck, but no one will replace this stuff. I rush a little bit because I know I'm off time. I spoke with an investor a couple of years, and I asked him, what is the best book I need to read? And he said, yes, it's the 5 Love Languages. And I was like, why is an investor speaking about love? This is not a match for me. And I read this book, and the key message I want to give you, first of all, if you're in a relationship, please buy it. And if you're not in a relationship, please buy it. Because 5 love languages means very closely, for one person, physical touch is the same like helping at home and bringing the trash out. And when you see the same as your customer, as your consumer, as your shopper, you learn you need to speak the language of them and not start with yourself. For me, this changed, I would say, nearly everything. And here also about category management, a well done job from GS1, the guys who invented the barcode. They are saying the first step in any category management program, and I was a certified not coach, I learned from them. Find out what your customer, Carrefour, Tamimi, Lulu, Aldi, you name them, what is their mission, and then see what is the similarities you're having. And then you're thinking about what is the product. And be honest when you say, I went to customers, I said, look, these products are working well with you. This is I'm not presenting because it's too much. It's open hearts, it's open honesty. So GS1 did a great job on this. And now I show you my number 1 company I admire by heart, and this is Ferrero. And I made a podcast 3 years ago with a former sales director, a good friend. His name is Harm, 30 years Ferrero. And this podcast is now reflected on the slide. And he said, it's very simple. When Michele Ferrero was coming to the markets, he was always saying, our shopper and consumers, Valeria, what is she thinking? He went to a store, he opened a Nutella jar, he tried it in store, he said, well, this quality is good, is not good. He and the company is obsessed with quality, number 1. Number 2, they are the guys who worked with GS1 on category management. They said, mass is not our enemy. Both are in categories which are not on the shopping list. Because normally Ferrero or Snickers, when I buy Snickers, I don't have it on my list. I buy it when you do a good job, by the way. But he said, let's work together. Let's think about the category. And when the category is growing, everyone is growing. Big mind shift for key accounters like me from the 80s, 90s, 90s, 80s maybe not. And a big change. Then quality, success, pricing. They have a price list in Europe. Every customer is paying the same. A small traditional trade is paying the same like a monster customer like Walmart. And the customers hated them for this. They said, how can we are big like this? They said, no worry. When you prove me at the end of the year, your volume came, your execution was nice, you get exactly what you wanted, a payback. It's the only company I know who could do this. A lot of companies try to copy-paste it. These are the guys who invented it. These guys are not going to Champions League, to Formula One, going to Middle East. You won't see them. They are focusing on quality, on execution. And for me, a masterpiece of a company. And when you see what they do in store, it's examples from Saudi, examples from Portugal. I make all to see the timeline. They are not the fanciest displays on earth. They are not the fancy stuff. This video got over 70,000 views, which is really viral. People from Ferrero reached out and said, oh, cool. Ironic, they said, we as Ferrero didn't know that you do this in Portugal. So I helped them to show what they do in other markets. Funny, by the way. But again, here, Ramadan, they made a special package. And I think this is like jewels, what I love. These combinations, what Mars is doing, it's beautiful. I love these products. But I have to say, the masterclass for me is Ferrero and maybe Procter & Gamble on communication. The best companies we can learn from. I jump a little bit faster. 5 more minutes, okay? 5 minutes. How you enter markets when you have a big competitor. Red Bull, for example, was dominating globally the market. And early 2000s, Rockstar and Monster came in and said, we love Red Bull, but we don't like the pricing. how can we challenge them? And they made a brilliant move. Double of the size of Red Bull. So instead of 250 ml, we make 500. Same price. This is easy to understand. Double size, same price. Monster and Rockstar grew phenomenal. In the last years, Monster came under the umbrella of Coca-Cola, and these guys are by far the strongest challenger for them right now. Pepsi is going now with Rockstar, and also with Celsius, more the way of healthy energy, which is a new category. We had it before. Less sugar was the first step. Now it's going, how can we find the guys who are going to the gym to drink an energy? In the past, you wouldn't do it. This is the way they go. So if you want to challenge others, don't be afraid. Walmart came in the market when Sears and all the others were already there. And everyone told Sam Walton, you can't, you won't be ever. Okay, it's #1 retailer globally for us, right? So this changed. And this is how they do it. Not the most expensive in-store material. 0 excuses is the message. Go to the gym and drink Red Bull. It's a little bit stupid, right? But it's working. People think, oh, it makes sense. No sugar, I can take it. And last but not least, it's not last but not least, I have more slides, but I'm soon. One moment, okay. My heroes, and I make it fast, this year are the guys from Mars, and this is really Instore execution at Ramadan. I'm not sure if it's working. It's not working, I'm sorry, but anyhow, you will see it. Maybe like this, you're right. Perfect. I saw this. This is beauty and love and execution. This is why I will always buy Mars brands, because they engage, they bring stuff inside, they make it nice, they play the Ramadan card, and on the left side you see Ala, what they did with their Puck brand, beautiful. What was written on the first slide I showed you on the back? Sun, very good. This picture was made at Menlo Park, Meta Facebook headquarters 2016. When I walked out, and it was my customer, we worked together, I was saying to the guy who's showing me the sign, I said, why is on the back Sun? You have enough money, can't you make the sign nice? And he said, Pascal, it's not about money. Mark Zuckerberg said very clearly, Sun Microsystem was an incredibly successful company in the 70s, 80s. Now we own the buildings, now we are on the front side. Remind us, if we are not performing, we are on the back side. This is a mantra of Meta, of Facebook. And this was for me a big opener. Last but not least, most white-collar jobs will get killed in AI. Sorry for makes this hard move. But you are the 1% of people who come on weekends to a great event like this. It shows you're open to learn. Please use AI every day. Use it in store in simple ways. I'm stunned how many people have no clue about AI. Make pictures, upload them in Gemini, say what you see, use Whisperflow to improve your process, and also these slides. This is 30 years of my life, but the slides are designed by AI, but you need to give guidance. So I'm encouraging you, learn AI, don't sleep, because blue-collar jobs not get fired. The people who fill your products in shelf will be there in 5 years. White-collar, analyst, demand planning, much, much more will come. In 2 years, AI is on the level of the smartest person on earth. So if you are proud about your IQ, in 2 years, your time is over. Very clear. And we need to do this. Give me these 2 minutes and I'm stopping it. I promise it. I'm sorry, I'm making only one more thing. Before I make the summary for you, may I ask you to stand up if you want? You can do an exercise with me. And this is something I stole with pride from Amy Cuddy, a YouTube video I recommend you to watch. And she was speaking about power posing. And power posing is all about bring you in a state of activeness, of joy. And when you do this for 2 minutes, yes, this is a good start, we do it in a second, you will see your testosterone is going up, cholesterol is going down. This is what you normally do when you go to pharmacies for years and you don't change anything. Let's do it together now. So, the first thing she said, stand strong. So try to stand strong in front. And now make this Wonder Woman. This is the Wonder Woman pose. And I know it feels strange when you do this in the office, but I can tell you something. If you do this, will change your shape, and probably you will change only your way how you're going into meetings. And the summary is very clear what I showed to you. Understand your customer, listen what they need and not the other way around. Focus on yourself, think about the Pepsi case, a great company, but obsessed with competition. Number 3 is mental availability, physical availability, what we learned from Byron Sharp, how brands grow. Then we have the boycotts. Boycotts are not against companies and countries, it's against brands which are exchangeable, customer, or you're a fan. And lastly, please, this is maybe the most important thing ever, use AI every day. You're still in the time to learn, but if you don't do this, your jobs get wiped away. But we are positive, and I hope these 2 minutes will be nice for you. And thanks so much for joining, and thanks for giving me more time.
Thank you, Pascal. And I'm feeling at least 21% more confident now stepping on the stage after this pose.
So you challenge me now.
But not after this pose, and not only confident as a personality, but confident that you've shared a lot of insights today. It came from what? We tried different categories today. We've seen confectionery, a lot of beverage things, right? We went to discounters. I feel like we went into discounters with all the videos and the photos you are having. Now we know how many traditional trade stores are there and what works there, what's not. So I enjoyed it a lot. And the key thing, which I'm trying, like I was on the side, right? And the key thing for me, whenever I see any speaker speaks, right, how audience are engaged, right? And then like there were just maybe one person having a phone call or something, but that's it. Everyone else was staring at you, staring at your slides. It was so great, so great.
Thank you so much.
Thanks a
I
lot.
really appreciate
Thanks a
it.
lot,
Thank
Pascal.
you so much.
It depends what our bosses will say. Yeah. Okay, we have an approval for 2 questions.
Pascal, see, I'm not, I know there may not be a clear answer on this, but this is something that always I think about. You started your Pepsi presentation with occasion, but we ended somewhere with category management. Do you think these two are not the same? The reason being, an occasion can only happen when categories come together.
I need to think about it. It's a tough question. So the question is occasion the same like category?
Exactly. Because a lot of occasions are a mixture of lot of categories, but still we always go and worry about categories, not
Yeah.
about occasions on our daily life.
I would say it's not the same. And I will tell you why. For me, occasion, Ramadan is for me an occasion. Back to school is an occasion. Christmas in Germany is an occasion. So I would say the category is supporting when you decided where you want to play, how you play. But I would say the occasion is much broader, it's much more meta perspectives. This is how I would see it.
But see, for example, let's take IKEA.
IKEA?
It puts a moment in one place, right?
Yeah.
I'm selling my bed sheets here, beds here, everything else somewhere else. But still I have a place where I see everything together, right?
Yeah.
That is bringing everything else together at one place.
Yeah.
But today, most of the retail is still in a situation where I'm too focused on my category. And if I put one extra placement, I'm so happy. I bought
Yeah.
another category here.
Yeah.
But an occasion is, for example, someone who is going to office in the morning, who is in a hurry.
Yeah.
He wants to grab something quick. I don't want to go to 4 categories to grab what I want.
I think then I have an answer. Think about the beverage guys. Normally, in Europe, you don't have these temperatures like here, 45, 50 degrees. We have, at the moment, 0, something like this. So 10 years ago, they started to bring in chillers because for the on the go. Here, you would say, since decades, is normal. So in beverages, you have here the ambient shelf, but you aim always for the chill shelf because this is something you have two occasions. One is take home, and the other one is to immediate consumption. Then you have the cooler. So I would say the beverage guys are playing this more and more, different touch points. But we were also struggling when we introduced the Galaxy brand as a drink. We said we want this touch point because Galaxy makes sense close to the bakery. For us, it makes sense. The retailer said, I don't have place. And when I start with you, dear supplier, then Ferrero and all the other guys want the same. So I would say the beverage guys are doing it quite good. Yeah.
So just to add to the question on the occasions. So the thing is, occasions, as you mentioned, is a broader thing. And like when you think of a store only, it's interconnected with category management. But occasion can be for Lay's brand, for example, is to make your consumers not only eat Lay's and drink Pepsi, but to make a salad and add into the salad Lay's chips. It's a different consumer who maybe cook for, like, you know, your mother, maybe you like to cook salads or whatever, but then it's about advertisement, and advertising, you know, you can actually cook a salad with the Lay's chips. And it's disconnected with the category management itself, and it's already in marketing and positioning and everything. So it's just a broader perspective how they look, like which lens they look from.
Yes.
Hello, everybody. Pascal, great presentation, really engaging. So thank you so much. So the question here I have for you is that I work for a retailer in the region, part of the modern trade. This retailer, Choice Rooms that I work for, been here for like 50 plus years. So when you mentioned about private label and discounters, that's for real. That's taking a real share of the market. Customers are shifting, and we're seeing the impact. So for us retailers, it's those Aldi and Lidl comparison of Vivas and the other retail discounters, we call it, who are actually taking a share of the business, okay? So when we talk to our FMCG partners, they say that, oh, the discounters are growing. And that's a conversation we have all the time. And what are you doing to counter that?
Okay,
but for the FMCG partners, what we do is also we are bringing in our own private label, right? We are working with them. So that's impacting their share with retailers like us. So my question here, maybe to the open forum as well, what is it that a modern retail players like us and the FMCG players like a lot of you here can do together when in this scenario of private label growing? Anything that we can do together to kind of, or rather than playing this game differently, like you start supporting discounters more and we start looking private label more. What do we do together? I mean,
That's a brilliant question, by the way.
I'm actually very glad that someone from the retail side is here, because from the principal side, I think this is a battle that we've been fighting for years now, right? And yeah, we will. And I think you've already had a conversation with Malati as well, right? I think at the end of the day, what I've seen over years is everything, when we sit down with the retailers in a very open conversation, right, drills down to price, right? And that has actually caused the emergence of discounters and value retail, or whatever you want to call it, right? We're seeing that very actively in the UAE, not just Viva, but you've seen all the other, you know, the Kabayals and the Nestors of the world, right? And I think the exclusivity part from a shopper perspective is now missing, because the shoppers are right now, see, there's a huge influence that retailers have, which I believe, on the shoppers, right? And every time, if every single person, every single retailer is talking price, then there's nothing exclusive about us entering a Choitram or a Carrefour or a Spinneys. Spinneys does not. If you know, Spinneys is a complete. And that is where you see the shopper base is completely different. Irrespective of whatever everyone does, Spinneys will never lose their shopper base. Why? Because they have created that family or eliteness which is missing from all the others, because everyone else is busy fighting price. And I think where we can come in, I mean, of course, not from a private label perspective, if I speak about my company and all, but I think there's so much that as principals we can offer because of the value, the depth of insights that we have. But unfortunately, I really wanted to come in, but I knew there was an issue on time and all that stuff. But category management, you know, it's a very talked about and the most underrated solution all right, which is there in this part of the world, for example. And every time you get to a retailer, what really pisses us off is, pain. Pay for it. What are you going to pay? It's not about that. It's all about how we partner. And if that collaboration can come in, which unfortunately, irrespective of the fact that UAE, for example, or Saudi are so ahead in the modern trade game, when it comes to collaboration, we're probably 10 years behind, right? And I think this, I would actually say, collaboration is the name of the game. And how do you put yourself as exclusive? I would actually also touch base on the occasion part, because I think these are occasions that retailers can own. And I think this is where retailers, if they can create their own occasions, they can own it, creates that differentiation, and then infinite, I guess, collaboration opportunities.
And one thing, maybe my thought, first of all, was a brilliant answer. I was thinking, if I would work at PepsiCo, it would go over my dead body to work with a private label. It would not be allowed. But then I see occasions. Imagine you have an A brand of a spreadable cheese, but you need a private label snack. That could work in my world, because then you don't harm. Because you have always to consider, when you work for a big company, you have to protect your brand. And if you as a retailer push them, you bring them in big, big trouble. But at the end, we are serving the shopper, right? That's it. So that would be my answer. Yes?
There is one question from the guys who are listening us online from downtown, Dubai downtown. Private label, again about private label, consumption, public consumption, and at-home consumption. Do you see the private label, it's okay for the home consumption, but on public consumption, when you are coming on the stage with private label, it's not so cool.
This is a very good. I would never, I think, use a private label here. No, it's a good question. Me, Pascal, 1 out of 8 billion people, I wouldn't show private label when I'm going out. I wouldn't even serve it to my guests at home, to be honest, to be very honest. But on myself, I love them, and I save a lot of money. I can invest in other stuff. That's it. Good question. I hope it's, yeah.
Thank you so much, guys. I think we are ready to move, right, Sergey? Or there is a connection issue. So we have time for more questions?
Yes.
Oh, guys, we have more time for questions.
Pascal, one question to you. Can you use your laptop and have the presentation on your laptop?
Do you want to, Sergey, do you want to make more questions with the guys?
While we prep for the
Yeah,
presentation.
we'll try to move the presentation from one to another one.
Talk about a break or something if someone wants to.
Yeah, I think, Anna, I think we had like almost a 2 hours conversation. Let us just have 3 to 4 minutes break. Anyone who needs to use the washroom, we need your focus for the next 30, 45 minutes. So in 3 minutes, we are meeting here back, okay?
Yeah, the washroom guys right on the right, on the right. Yeah, so you'll see washroom.
All right. So I'm giving another 10 seconds to take your seats, and then we start to scream. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. And welcome back. All right, so we've seen the final execution, right? But we all know that once we, let's say someone in the US or maybe in headquarters in Europe sitting, and they came up with the visual, the global visual, that is going to be valid in their eyes for every single region. And they're saying, our work is done. Now in Oman, there will be great POSM material. But there is a good and a big and struggling path from a global visual to a final execution in a specific country, in a specific city, and a specific retailer. And this is a struggling journey for everyone involved. And today, Karim, who is managing director for Vitamin Company, they're helping to build a great in-store execution for great brands and trying to ease in the process, the hectic process of going from a very vague something to a final execution. So stage is yours.
Thank Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me. I really appreciate your time. Sorry for the technical errors, but I've been always blessed with bad luck when it comes to this moment of truth. Although I'm talking about execution, it's maybe the irony, but it's okay. Thank you all for being here. My name is Karim Jamil. I'm the managing director at Vitamin. Just a quick intro about myself. I started my journey in retail somewhere around 2010. I joined Transmed. I worked there. I joined Transmed. I worked there for about 6 to 7 years. I know they hate the term a school, but honestly, for me, it was not a school. It was basically my foundation, which allowed me to apply all the learnings and everything. Now, during my tenure, I also did a role as a category manager, handling laundry brands. So specifically, with Pankaj and everything. But that was where all the big money was, on laundry and everything. And I remember we used to get these great toolkits, very similar to what Sergey was saying. You'd get these toolkits that came, I don't know, from Antwerp, from Brussels, whatever it is, and you open it and it's like 300 megabytes, and you open it and it's like, wow, great, unbelievable, amazing visuals, XYZ. Go to execution, it's the last thing that anyone thinks of. Everything is rushed. What is being shared with is, unapplicable. I'm sure we've all seen it. So what I'm here to basically showcase is just a quick look through and basically my proposal on how we can really go to market in an easier way, and also highlighting the challenges that I see along the way. So the realities of executing the big plan. So what I want to show is what goes on before the big launch. So what goes behind the scenes? This can be for everyone, from the retailer to the brand managers to the executors as well. What goes on behind the scenes? I have some people from my team, and I'm sure they'll feel what I'm saying. So the first thing, these are the common pain points I hear from my clients. The first one, inconsistent adaptation for Arabia execution. As global toolkits, very similar to what I was saying, it's not a one size fits all. Despite what we think, everything comes in. Some things don't apply. Next, tight timelines and fragmented vendor network. You get the brief, you understand it, and then, okay, when is the product going to reach? All of these little intrinsicies that happen along the way, these are all evolving to a tight timeline, and all of a sudden you don't have time to run. You're launching at the last minute. Complex multi-agency overlapping. So what happens here, you guys know very well, we're talking to multiple agencies, one person for the, branding, one person for the permissions, whatever it may be. And of course, you have the regional laws. If you have any claims, these need to be verified. If you have any activations or something that is like a prize that's going to be won, these also need to be verified. So all of these things come into play. And I'm talking now from the client's perspective, what comes, the nightmares you face. Next one would be, for example, trying to appease different retailers, from Lulu to Co-ops to Carrefours, right? Each one has their own requirements. Oh, why are you launching there first? I should be exclusive. No, this product is for me. No, this SKU is mine. Why? You told me this, you told me that. You invite them out to a big party. You go invite the ballroom. In the ballroom, one guy says, I want to have exclusivity. And you know how it all goes from there. You're trying to end up pleasing so many people and just thinking, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? What am I going to do? Next, of course, these eventually go up to high costs, repetitive design, because then all of a sudden you promised your customer something special. I'm going to give you a wow execution in your top 3 stores. I'm going to give you promoters. I'm going to, I'll give you a car as well. And that's what happens. It becomes a trickly slope, because all of this is because we're not ready with the total thing, with our execution plan. And of course, multiple stakeholders. We know, I like to call them the last minute salary earners, who just come into the picture and then try to create more chaos in something, and that doesn't need to be there. So these are basically all the challenges and complexities. Now, how I view the room, how I see it in my imagination, I used AI. Where's Pascal? So I used AI just to generate this for me, just to showcase exactly how I feel. Every brand manager is working at the last minute. Again, the go-to-market realities, and this is exactly what we're looking at. Brand launches are focused on innovations and novel propositions, offering an opportunity for driving brand awareness and engagement. You guys are literally doing these launches, new product innovations, new extensions, whatever it may be, in order to grow your sales, to really make a point. Next, you develop these stellar toolkits. We go, I don't want to say names of the big agencies, but you go to these big agencies and the guy who probably never used your product doesn't even know where the store is. And they prepare these amazing toolkits. But what toolkits promise on paper is lost in execution in the majority of the stores. All of that is eventually lost because everything that's been promised in that 300 megabyte deck that I shared earlier is completely lost. So what happens? 20% of the stores get 80% of the spotlights experience, and majority of the remaining 80% of the stores held a huge opportunity for optimization. This including, by the way, e-commerce, what you were telling me earlier. So all of this is, of course, gone for a toss because, again, we're rushing to the finish line. Again, reminding you how I see the room looking like before the big launch. So, I'm sorry, by the way, I cannot see what's coming up, so I kept coming here to my slide so I can be prepared for the next slide. So apologies for that. Yeah. Now, here are all just a quick thing. What I see from my experience are all the people, all the stakeholders, both internally, externally, that are bringing all the way from the global brand teams that come up with the new innovations, all the way to the shelf. These are all the big agencies that are working tirelessly across everything. Now, the big question is, what are you designing for? And that I'm seeing from my observations and my team's observations, what are we designing for? Now, I don't mean in the next slides, what I'm sharing with you is something that I'm not trying to belittle or something, but these are some things that I sometimes see or are shared with me by others. And it's just key to understand because there's so many stakeholders and we get so lost in trying to get that wow execution that we lose the main picture, the main purpose. So in this situation, this is a display that is in the market. Again, I ask you, what are we designing for in this situation? Pascal, it's a complete, it's random. I know you were mentioning Ferrero. Mine's on a different scale. My mind is going on a different thing. I don't mean it in that way. But, I just said Ferrero, sorry. Freudian slip, but I'm sorry. But you get what I mean. So what is the communication? A gold touches at the bottom. There's no shelf strips, there's no claim, there's no call to action, there's no activation mechanics. Yes, it's a Ramadan theme, but what? There's no affirmations, I know a blessed Ramadan to you or your family, there's nothing. It's just a display put. So basically it's literally a tick box. But again, this did not come, a touch of gold was not a guy who, are you Ferrero? No. Oh, thank God. Sorry. No, having these. Really, huh? But let me ask you something. What does a touch of gold mean? I mean, just because it says here a touch of gold. Like for example, I'm just trying to understand in terms of the communication. Okay. No, I'm a fan as well. I'm a fan. True. Agreed. Yeah. No. She agrees, by the way. I'm sorry. True. Agreed. Look, I was also going to go from a structural point of view as well. I mean, I see this as I'm still not understand. I get here that this is a sharing. I get that, but I think here it could have been at least a little bit more elevated. My other thing is that, for example, how the stock is sitting here without anything to guard it. So if you pull one, I guarantee you they're eventually going to end up falling. So I don't think it was built for purpose. It was not designed for that purpose. I think it was just designed, okay, we need something for Ramadan. Guys, let's go rush, 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 rush. And this was the end result. Not because the team was not there or they weren't aware. It's because there were so many things across the line that weren't able to think of the final execution. Moving forwards. So again, what I'm trying to tell you is all of those people, again, were the ones who were behind this exact thing, and it goes sort of, okay. Then, the next one. What happens when the toolkit is over the top? Again, this is a display that I've personally worked on that's coming up. I've personally worked on it, so I'm going to speak from experience. When I was rehearsing, there was, I think, KK who said, I remember this display. So this display literally cost me sleepless nights. And I'm going to explain to you why. So again, we go back to the brand managers in Brussels or Antwerp or wherever they may be. But we go here next. So, excuse the photo that's blurred. However, in this situation, it was literally, if you can see from the top, there were so many elements of levels of acrylic. The visuals were also blocked by the stock. And in the end, it was not a stockable display. It was extremely complicated to build it. I know for a fact how much time and effort and all of that went into just this one display that was launched across the top 20 stores. This took time, effort, money. At the end of the day, it was not perceived in a positive way in terms of the stockability, in terms of what it did, because it became very complex. Complexity rose. And I remember we had the marketing team, and this is where you have that divide. The marketing team versus the trade marketing versus the sales, the executional, where important things like stockability, call to action, grabbing the shopper, these things I felt were an obstruction. It was a very, very beautiful looking display, but extremely tough to navigate, extremely tough to shop from, and all of these things. And just on a personal note, I remember, Peter will probably also remember, we had the marketing team, they visited like 3, 4, 5 times just to see these displays. Now I understand it's very important, but to the detail of, okay, every single acrylic panel, by the way, is a different Pantone color that had to be UV printed, that had to be all of those things. Now, yes, the devil is in the detail, but in this situation, it was overkill, whereby that focus could have been, more spent on what can we do larger. We looked at the small picture, we thought only of the toolkit, what the toolkit told us. Next one was what happens when the product itself is forgotten. So I'm showing you one where communication, one where it's over the top, and then one literally where the product itself. The next one is not worked on by us, but I did see this in the trade, so that's why I'm sharing it. The product doesn't fit. So imagine you are a brand manager, you woke up in the morning, you're waiting for your mega launch, your great execution. Hey, where are the photos? It's the wrong SKU size. This happens. These are realities, guys, and these are realities again, because all of these teams are missing the bigger picture, the execution. We forget about it. So we end up running, the most important is the first moment of truth. It's literally the forgotten, the last moment of reality it becomes. And that's what ends up happening. All of these teams, again, that's what went on.
I'm sure somewhere the NRM team is showing that as one of the best practices.
100%, yes. And then, yeah. Disruptive, yeah. Be different. No. Yeah. Yes. So that's a, and also I would say the UAE is the Gulf in general is an experiential market. You know what? It really is an experiential market. Yeah. Look, I agree and I disagree at the same time. First, to address the first thing, I think the UAE is an experiential market, and I think this is why shoppers like to have these events. I'll give you a personal example. My wife likes to order online. Me personally, I enjoy going to the supermarket. I don't know, I enjoy it. I enjoy seeing what goes on, what's happening. Since I was a kid, I've always enjoyed it. And the proof is in the pudding. I mean, you seldom go to any retailer here over the weekend or through any holidays that you don't see them packed. And again, what you're doing in store, activations, promoters, all of these are driving in. Category management projects are also another big thing that brings in. So all of these things are adding, and I believe, again, retailers are here experiential. And I think that is maybe, I wanted to talk to you also about it, but maybe that was one of the big things with Aldi, that shoppers here in the Gulf are, forget Saudi, but here they're very experiential shoppers. And if you look at Viva and whatnot, yes, it is growing. I agree, the discounters is a big is on a big trajectory, but again, it's all about the experiential. So moving forwards, we feel your pain. So this is how we see ourselves as the fabricators, as the execution companies, because we're coming at the last minute. Everything has been approved last minute. Produce. I'm sure, for example, from Pankaj, they'll be talking to you, whoever they are, for 5-6 months before. Oh, we have the new blueberry peanut butter coming out, and they're telling you the whole dream about the blueberry peanut butter. When it's time to execute, they'll tell you, look, Mr. Pankaj, we didn't get this. Can we get this? Oh, can we get that? It's all last minute because it's forgotten, and then it's all on the fabricator. And then who gets the blame? The fabricator. Agency didn't do a good job. You know, we get these things, and it's reality. Moving forwards. So, how can we bridge this execution? Excuse me. Okay. So we follow basically 3 core principles. The first is to know what it's solving for. So, for example, the first thing that we do internally, and what I've always learned is, first of all, it needs to be scalable. Faster go-to-market, budgeting on forecast, enhanced planning, all of these things, it needs to be solving. All of these core principles need to be addressing these things. Now, what are these core principles? The first is modularity, and I'm going to be showing you some examples of what I mean by this. Modularity, when I mean modularity, I don't mean, because sometimes when I get any customer telling me, hey, you guys do modular display. For me, modular display is, I'll define it how I define it. I define it as a display that can be easily rebranded across multiple brands and across multiple different store formats. That for me is modular. Others, modular is, oh, I want a 2x1 that becomes a 3x1, that becomes a 4x1, and we connect them all together and we can adjust them. Great in theory, but very hard in reality. So that is how I see a modular display. And of course, it fits just different store sizes, formats, and brand expressions. These are very important things, especially on brand expressions, because it allows any display to be in the end, when it comes to an execution, to be able to showcase your brands or whatever it may be. Next is fit to purpose. Again, it's a mix of plug and play solutions, whatever it is. For example, if in this situation, I'm going to show you an example of coming up, is how we created modularity, a fit to purpose, and customization in one go. Next, so basically in our theory, it's design once, deploy 10 times, continually optimize and innovate. And how we're going to do that? From the retailer's perspective, I'm going to answer it from both ways. First is the retailer's perspective. Now, before I go into this video, I want to, so this has already been launched, so I can speak about it. We had a brief that came from Carrefour. So basically that, look, our beauty events are one of our core key consumption periods. We want to elevate it. We were the ones, the trendsetters, but now you have different retailers who've hopped on the bandwagon of beauty events. And now what's ending up happening is when you go in, it's a hot mess, so many different messaging, so many different claims. It's not easy on the eye. So we stepped back. And the first thing we thought, okay, how can we make it modular? And I remember with our creative director, Peter, he went back and he said, you know what? Let's look at, for example, or Sephora, or let's look at, for example, the duty free. Everything is streamlined. You can have your brand expressions, you can have your customization, and you can make it fit to purpose, all in one. Doesn't need to be. So this was one way that we made it happen. Excuse, there's no sound because the speakers are down. Here. So this was basically a total takeover of the beauty event. This happened at three stores. two in Dubai and one in Abu Dhabi. So what we did here is we standardized the entire look and feel of the beauty, with the central zone being the one that is highlighting the biggest innovation. So that can be easily changed by brand, and immediately in this situation, the retailer is the one in control. Now, did we get pushback from multiple brands? Yes, in the beginning there was. But eventually, when you explain to them, you know what, you have your modularity, you can make it fit to purpose, which is a beauty event, make it elevated. And the third thing is you can have your customization. In this situation, the customization was what we did on shelf. So what we did was we created a menu whereby, for example, if you're X brand, you can have a touch and feel, you can have a lift and learn, you can have a screen, all of them to create, to basically highlight your unique selling points. Now, from what I know, this had been a successful launch, and that is why hopefully there will be a rollout. But for understand, it was well perceived, especially by other brands. For the first time, imagine, and you know why? Because that entire weight of execution is lifted off because you went through those simple steps of, you know what, let me make it simple, make it modular. And it doesn't mean, modular does not mean cheap, make it simple does not mean cheap, doesn't mean you don't have an execution, but you do have one, just in the smart ways. The next example I will showcase is, we hear this a lot, hey, but I'm a small brand, and how will this fit for me? And I'm gonna show you another example. Example that basically allows for scalable executions in an. So here's one example. So you have, here are your this is a brand, this has already been launched, this is a very old display, so don't worry. So you have here, these are your photos of basically your premium displays. And then you have your displays that can be executable. Now, why I'm bringing this up is because when we think about execution, we end up thinking of every single execution as a unique execution, or unique launch, but you can literally stream it down and make a beautiful execution. So what we're saying here is, these are the premium displays that go into the market. These are designed for the top stores. And then you have these displays that are within your inventory and you scale them out. These can be, again, modular, fit to purpose, and most importantly, different branding. So another example here is that premium display. When you're a small brand, it immediately can be converted from VIX. VIX can never afford, for example, cannot afford a display like this. However, in this situation whereby you're leveraging all of these things, it allows you as stakeholders to literally take things forward and really take control of your launch. Next thing and last, I'm almost done, guys, is from our side, we have a spectrum. Engagement all the way to scalability. So that focuses on traditional trade in this. And what we're saying is, when it comes to execution, we literally need to think in a way that is sustainable. And I don't mean also in terms of environment. I mean sustainable in terms of budget, in terms of how you think and how you approach things, and has that longevity. So yes, that would just as a quick recap of where we are. We always push for modularity, we always push for fit to purpose, and of course, customization, because these are key. And the only way this can happen is when retailers and brand owners understand that execution is the most important part. And like what Pascal was saying, it really does need its time to be thought of, and it cannot be the last thing. So thank you for your time, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Karim, a lot. How did you like it, guys? Yeah, I found it very much specific for the work for those who are involved. And it's very interesting to see like how you can divide from the scalability to the visuals, and that's the different positioning. But what I liked the most was the sustainability perspective. I remember from when I was involved in this thing, whenever we do the PSM material, the big promotion, the big events, after a few weeks, this is getting like disposed. Like it's never used again. And your example, when you can just reuse it, and it's super expensive, not only from the like money perspective, expensive from the efforts of all the teams involved. And then you're like, no, next time I will do so from scratch. Why? You spend so much time and money for this, and then you're like, next time from beginning. So it's really cool to see. Do you have any questions to Karim?
Yes. Very good question. It's a great question. So what we were So what we want to do basically, that 3 stores was a pilot. So you had one in Dera, one in Mall of the Emirates, and then one in Abu Dhabi, Reem. So that it depends on what the results were, but eventually this would need to be rolled out eventually. Because not only that, it's because it allows everyone, it streamlines everything. There's no more one stand is high, one is low, it's a mess. All of these are streamlined. Again, it's easier for the shopper. You're allowing the shopper to literally experience the store and that environment. So I do believe that it will hopefully roll out, yes, because that's the way forward. We manage it A to Z, actually. So how that happens in the background, I believe from our side, the retailer is our customer, and I think that's a very important thing, that the retailer is the customer in this situation. Why? Is because I would prefer it's their area, it's their event, and that's how we always keep it. And you basically, what I was trying to say is, in this situation, you're also streamlining. This is the size of the artwork. This is what you can do. This is the shelf strip. This is this. All of these things, Krishna, streamline everything. Everyone knows the sizes. There's nothing ambiguous. Versus before, what happens when you get a toolkit and you're going and execute on a brand level, your displays, no one has that artwork. You ask them, can I have the file? The file is not there. All of these things happen, right? I'm sure you understand where I'm coming from also on this. So in this situation, when we work with the retailer, you streamline everything and you literally build for the occasion.
Sorry, maybe I missed it, but on the example of the beauty section, from an education perspective,
Yes.
I didn't capture exactly.
Sure. So if it was on my laptop, I would show it, but sure. So her question was like she wasn't seeing the customization part of the principle. So what we did is, and I wish I had my laptop. I would have shown you some photos. Maybe after I'll show you. But basically, each brand, so each bay, let's assume, was basically one brand. So for example, let's assume L'Oreal. You would have their new, for example, skincare line, and you had a nice screen with you press a button, immediately it plays the visual, it plays the benefits of it on the screen. So you had that, you had lift and learn, and you had this displays that were showcasing. So you had these three technological advancements, and that what we did is we applied all these to those.
Thank you.
No worries.
I have a sorry, go ahead.
So it had retail media basically built in.
Within, yes. And what we did is, before we went for launch, we would send to all brands, this is the menu, this is these are your assets. Where would you like? Would you like a screen? Would you like a touch? We actually invited them to our facility before, so they understand all the different touch points that they had, and then from there they made their decisions. And what was good about that, and I believe, Pascal, when you were talking about the media part, what some common mistake that we see many times is that people assume that, for example, a YouTube video can be put in store. It's completely different. Your video there, it needs to be literally sharp, maximum 5 to 6 seconds, highlight what you're trying to sell, because don't forget, you don't have audio. You don't have all of these things. So yes, we showed them all these things, and it was very educational for them, because many times we're getting YouTube videos. And I wanted to mention that when you're saying, we're getting YouTube videos, I tell them, guys, there's no sound. You cannot put a YouTube video. You literally think of it as if it's like e-commerce. You have a web banner, what are you going to communicate? So these things. I promise you, you're going to think I'm BSing, literally. But I don't think, how long we had, 4 weeks maximum? 4 weeks, yeah, it was 4 weeks. And to liaise with 4 to 5, we had Johnson & Johnson, L'Oreal, Unilever. Communicating with all of them was unbelievable. But that's where I'm coming from. That, again, guys, I'm not trying to say, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying it's because we understand all the things that I need to do, all the levels. So what we did was we had one person for artwork, one person for claims, one person for this, and that's how we got all of this done. Go ahead.
How do you measure the success? I think visually there is an improvement, right? What was, let's say, the uplift of the footfall, or did it affect somehow sales?
So it's a good question. This happened sometime in end of November. I do know it was. I'm not at liberty to say, but I do know it was a good pilot. So yes, it was, and we will. So what the success would be, of course. Oh, so you're saying, how does the retailer measure their success? Me or them? Okay, so from my side, we don't have the qualitative data on this. So what we do, we count on, of course, on the store themselves. Okay, we count on the promoters, and of course, most importantly, we also count on the customer to tell us what was the engagement and what not. Now, from what I can know is that there was a huge turnaround in terms of shoppers were more inviting into the aisles versus being very, very claustrophobic. And these are qualitative information that we got also from our clients. That was on that side. In terms of the sales, the thing is, I cannot tell you, but I can say that it was meaningful. Let's assume that was the right move, hopefully, because I do see it in that way. Yes. Yes, their key consumption period. No way. True. But then also, I also think, Anna, in terms of the retailer, I mean, I honestly, I thought, personally, I did not think it was gonna be very welcomed as it was. I thought there was gonna be a lot of pushback. No, we cannot. It was very simple. All of them came together. They said, okay, this is what it is, and let's do it. And also, if you saw in the video, there was a central zone. And that central zone, we had a lot of, for example, you had a hairstylist that was there. And that hairstylist was doing things for free. I mean, like hairstyling for free. It was not linked to purchase. Again, it was all about the experiential. And that central zone, how we designed it, is always going to be. So one day it's X brand, one day it's Y brand. And that's how you keep momentum, how you keep livelihood. At the end of the day, when you have a beauty event, everyone wants to know what's new and also what's in it for me. So these are the things that we address in these things, and always having innovation and beauty is the most important thing. Specifically in stores right now, like for example, if we look at Mall of the Emirates, you have Ulta Beauty, you have Sephora, you have all of these big players there. And in all the malls, not just in Carrefour's, any mall, you have all of these beauty stores. So how can a store stand out is by doing these activations, or else they're just going to get regular displays that, put them here without any final communication. No, sorry. Ladies first.
Sorry, any example, any best practice also that came from a brand side, looking also from an experience, creating an experience in store? I'm referring, for instance, to the great example that Pascal has shared about the Take 10 concept.
Okay, what Take 10 concept?
The Take 10
Yes.
concept with the
That's a
Starbucks.
question. I didn't understand the question.
No, I'm just wondering because for the beauty example, I understand it came from a retailer perspective.
Yes.
So he was the initiator.
Okay.
Do you have any example that was done from a brand that managed to get it in? Because this is where we struggle. Because I think we all realize that, we definitely we need to create an experience over and above a regular stand, a regular wobbler, a regular pallet wrap, etc.
Okay. Yeah, please, go ahead.
So on Take 10, this came from us, and we proposed it. I think we didn't show it to the headquarter of the customer. We went to the retailers, and we figured out there are some retailers, because this is the difference to this market. In Germany, everything is central warehouse and everything and organized. So we picked out the top retailers. We went to them, and they loved the project because when they run the stores on their own, they run for it. If we show this to the headquarter, everyone was really against it, because the first thing is they asked for money, and they said, no, we want to control it. So the message was, Take 10 came from us, but we gave it to selected customers. I think it was technically to our buddies, but good buddies. That was the way how we did it.
Thank you. And just to, I just wanted to also address one thing on this. Sorry.
Sorry, there is.
Sergey, just one second. Please. Sorry, I didn't get your name. Natalie. So Natalie, just to address you also in terms of from the brand to that, I think the most important when that happens is category management projects. So we've worked also extensively on categories like baby, beauty, and whatnot. And I think that's the most important where the brand insights come to play. In the end of the day, when it comes to just a short-term execution of a display or that, I believe those are usually short-term. And long-term is when the brand gives the expertise on category management, how to organize, how to segment, because the most important thing, again, is segmentation, and these are the experts. So that's how I would answer it. I hope I answered. I'm not sure. Yes. Sure. Yes, yes. Oh, we have two more. Sorry.
Sorry, just
You keep
just
getting. Come forward. Sorry.
a slightly different question. Because you work a lot with retailers, right? Retailers nowadays, are they looking for more scale, or are they looking for key events but concentrated to their top stores? Because the reason why I'm asking this is because a lot of time us as principals battle with what kind of offerings we need to take to our retailers. So is it more scale, or is it more of create that wow factor and that's it?
It's a good question. You're speaking on the background of what brands, for example? Okay. So in that situation, I would say, for example, look, one of our biggest clients is Procter & Gamble. So when we do any executions, we always do mass executions, specifically on their shopper marketing campaigns. So what I can understand from a retailer, the most important thing from them is the reach. I think that's very important when it comes to the Lulus, the Schweitrams, the Carrefours and whatnot, is the reach. They don't want, although they no longer want, oh, I'm going to take 4 stores and do it great. No, no, no. Tell me what's your plan across the trade and across this, because at the end of the day, we're buying from you, we're going to stock these products. Tell me what's your plan. So I do believe scale is the most important, literally, how many stores are you reaching? And the second thing is, can I get something wow? Can I get a nice display in one of my top 2, 3, 4, 5 stores? And that also trickles down to on the store level between the sales team and whatnot, and how we can elevate it. So I do believe the most important for them is right now scale is what I can see, because I don't get any more events that, hey, we only have 4 stores. It's usually low. We have 60 stores here, 30 stores here. The co-ops are now becoming very active. I'm sure you know then. The co-ops now have completely changed. They're implementing an events calendar and all of these things. So I do believe scale is very important for them now. And it's also, sorry to cut this, it's also how the market is shaped, right? So you have Nielsen. Nielsen is going, measuring share of display, share of shelf, share of feature. All of these things they're displaying. So in a way, if you as a brand are not in it, you're going to lose, regardless of what you sell. So I think those are a lot of factors that play eventually into the mix.
Yes.
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 Finally.
It's working. You made a very interesting point about the complexity of the display. And when we were talking about the complexity of display, I started thinking about shoppability.
Yes.
Right? Is it easy for me as a shopper to actually buy something using this display? So my question to you is, in the region, do you see any change on this point from retailers' point of view? How do retailers perceive it? Because as a retailer, I can I can just look at the brand's displays as just a profit engine, right? As that I'm selling the most expensive space and that's it. Or I can, or maybe if the display is more complex, then it becomes a cost engine, but probably manufacturers, employees, they're taking care of the complexities. So are retailers in the region, are they changing their perspective and having more say about the purpose of this display? Is the purpose just, I sell the space, I sell the right for the brand to advertise itself, and that's it, or there is something else? Do you understand my question?
100% understand your question.
Thank you.
So just to, yes and no would be my short answer. And you have customers right now that are having their own, for example, let's just say, standards when it comes to execution. They say, you know what, this is the height, this is the level, this is the number amount of branding. There's a lot of that going on. And don't forget also, when it comes to shopper to standards, you need to also understand that many retailers right now, when they're doing a gamification, meaning win something when you purchase, they're asking you to put that QR code. So they're also now being selective on your display, how and where you put that QR code, how and where are you communicating? Because at the end of the day, you're driving traffic to their websites in order to be part of that campaign. So I do believe, yes, it is becoming very important. And I do believe it should be. I do believe it should be standardized in some cases, because at the end of the day, a shopper wants to go and see, you know what, these are the displays. It's also, for example, if you look at, there are sometimes where it's the wild, wild west, like what Pascal was showing with those mega displays of rice, 8 meters of rice, 40 meters of sugar, all of that. That I don't think there's any standard. Honestly, there's no safety standard. There's no stock. There's nothing. Just put and go. But I do see retailers becoming more educated and putting more say into it. Yes.
I think when they don't have this standard, for example, right? Most of the times I have seen that the first thing they have is don't screw up. You do great, you don't do, it's still okay, but please don't screw up. And only after that I see the rest of the things that are coming in. Okay, fine, my best store, why don't we do something better? But I think like he showed, if we have 2 displays like this coming up from their stores, that is the biggest problem they will have. And then everything else falls in place. Yeah.
Feedback, Karim, that last year, if you remember that we done one snacking solution in the stores. There's a one gondola, front side the Pringles, left hand side there is a Lotus. Oh, sorry, this Bic Off biscuits, and then right hand side the Freeze.
Okay.
So these type of solution in a one gondola, 3 brands we can acquire, and then inventory point of view is an optimal inventory, and a convenience stores point of view, gondola is fit. So these type of solutions you have in the one gondola. There's a 3 brands.
Left, right. Yes,
Right.
yes. And that's also one of the things that small brands sometimes they get scared.
Correct.
Like these are small brands that you just mentioned. I think that
And that's make a snacking solution.
Yes.
And customer go there itself, grab all 3.
Correct. So you hit the modular, you hit the customization as well, and the fit to purpose.
Thank you for your questions. There were so many. You were so silent before, and then look, it was so great. Thanks again
Thank you.
for sharing the knowledge, and thanks for your questions.
And guys, also thank you for Pascal, thank you to Sergey, thank you for Anna, Dmitry, thank you, and also to Ellen for everything. I really appreciate it. Thank you. And honestly, these are really, for me especially, these are very eye-opening sessions. Like I literally love to hear these ideas, and honestly, thank you. I appreciate it.
Thanks a lot. And dear audience, you've survived what, 2.5 hours, and I still don't see you in the phones. You're the greatest audience ever. Come on, it was so good. Now we need just 2 actions from your side. First action, some of you have done it already, but there is a QR code. We want to hear your feedback, how you liked the session, what you didn't like, everything, so we can improve or we can continue and get the motivation from you. And the second bit is, if you have not subscribed yet, there is a LinkedIn community. You go ahead and subscribe so to know when it's going to be the next event or next store safari or the next something we are not yet knowing them ourselves. And again, thank you. And the round of applause for yourself. Oh, group photo. We need a group photo. Now everyone on the stage. Yeah, oh, yes. And we will become all confident again.